6 years ago, my girlfriend and I decided to explore an old Civil War battlefield near our town, East Ridge. The battlefield had always been a place of historical significance, a silent witness to the bloodshed and turmoil of the past. We had heard stories about the eerie atmosphere that enveloped the place, especially at dawn and dusk, when the fog rolled in and the shadows seemed to dance among the trees. It was a place where history and mystery intertwined, and we were drawn to it like moths to a flame. We thought it would be a fun, spooky adventure, a chance to experience the thrill of the unknown. We packed a small bag with snacks, a flashlight, and our phones, ready to capture any strange occurrences we might encounter. As we walked through the dense forest that surrounded the battlefield, we laughed and joked, trying to shake off the growing sense of unease that seemed to cling to the air. The trees loomed overhead, their branches twisting and turning like skeletal fingers reaching for the sky. But what we found was beyond anything we could have imagined. As we emerged from the forest and stepped onto the open field, the fog thickened, creating an almost otherworldly atmosphere. The air was heavy with an unsettling silence, broken only by the distant hoot of an owl. We felt a chill run down our spines, but curiosity pushed us forward. We had no idea that our lives were about to change forever. As we were walking through the foggy field, we saw a group of hooded figures gathered around a bonfire. The flames flickered and danced, casting eerie shadows on the ground. The figures moved in unison, their chants rising and falling in a haunting rhythm. We could barely make out their faces beneath the hoods, but there was an unmistakable sense of malevolence in the air. It was as if we had stumbled upon a scene from a nightmare, and we were powerless to look away. Curious, and a bit reckless, we decided to get closer and record what was happening on our phones. We crept forward, our footsteps muffled by the thick fog. The closer we got, the more we could hear the strange, guttural language they were chanting. It sent shivers down our spines, but we were determined to capture evidence of whatever was happening. We had no idea that our curiosity would lead us into the heart of darkness. What we saw was horrifying. The hooded figures were performing some kind of satanic ritual, sacrificing animals and chanting in a language I couldn't understand. The sight of the blood and the lifeless bodies of the animals made my stomach churn. My girlfriend clutched my arm, her face pale with fear. We knew we had to get out of there, but it was already too late. They were performing some kind of satanic ritual, sacrificing animals and chanting in a language I couldn't understand. The air was thick with the stench of blood and burning flesh. The hooded figures moved with a terrifying precision, their chants growing louder and more frenzied. It was as if they were summoning something from the depths of hell, and we were the unwitting witnesses to their dark ceremony. My girlfriend managed to escape, but I wasn't so lucky. She turned and ran, her footsteps echoing in the fog. I tried to follow, but the hooded figures were too quick. They surrounded me, their hands gripping my arms and dragging me back towards the bonfire. I struggled and fought, but it was no use. I was trapped, and there was no way out. They caught me and dragged me to their leader, who turned out to be none other than our town mayor. The realization hit me like a punch to the gut. The man who had always seemed so kind and trustworthy was now standing before me, his eyes cold and calculating. He removed his hood, revealing a face twisted with malice. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. The mayor, the man who was supposed to protect and serve our community, was the leader of this twisted cult. He gave me a choice: join them, or my girlfriend would suffer. His voice was calm and measured, but there was an unmistakable threat in his words. I knew he wasn't bluffing. I had seen what they were capable of, and I couldn't bear the thought of my girlfriend being harmed because of me. I was trapped with no way out. I had to make a decision, and I had to make it fast. I had no choice but to comply. I nodded, my heart heavy with dread. The mayor's smile was cold and triumphant. He knew he had me. I was now a part of their twisted world, and there was no turning back. I had to do whatever they asked, no matter how horrifying or depraved. My life was no longer my own. Over the years, I was forced to help them with their twisted plans. I became their unwilling accomplice, carrying out their orders and participating in their dark rituals. Each act of cruelty and violence chipped away at my soul, leaving me hollow and broken. I hated what I had become, but I had no choice. I was trapped in a web of fear and manipulation with no way out. We targeted certain people in the community, ruining their lives to take their homes and imprison them. The mayor and his followers had a plan, and I was a pawn in their game. We would identify vulnerable individuals, people who had no one to turn to, and we would destroy their lives. We would take their homes, their possessions, and their freedom. It was all part of a larger scheme, one that I couldn't fully understand but was powerless to stop. The council forced people to perform humiliation rituals, making them do unspeakable things. The eerie atmosphere and the dark intentions of the council were palpable. This was not just a one-time event, it was a systematic effort to control and manipulate the town's residents. The council's power seemed to grow with each ritual, and the fear among the people was evident. My girlfriend, who refused to cooperate, was thrown into a mental hospital. They broke her spirit, and it was all my fault. I visited her whenever I could, but each time I saw her, she seemed more and more distant. The light in her eyes had faded, replaced by a dull, vacant stare. She was a shell of the person she used to be, and I knew I was to blame. The guilt and shame were unbearable, but there was nothing I could do to save her. They broke her spirit, and it was all my fault. I would lie awake at night, haunted by the memories of what I had done. I would see her face, hear her voice, and feel the weight of my betrayal. I had sacrificed everything to protect her, but in the end, I had only caused her more pain. The guilt gnawed at me, a constant reminder of my failure. Now, after 6 years of living in this nightmare, they've promised me a spot on the council. The mayor and his followers had been grooming me for this moment, preparing me to take my place among them. It was a twisted honor, one that I wanted no part of, but I knew that refusing would only bring more suffering to those I cared about. I was trapped, with no way out. I want to run, but I don't know where to go or what to do. The darkness has consumed me, and there's no escape. I am a prisoner of my own choices, bound by fear and regret. I long for freedom, for a chance to start over, but I know that it is an impossible dream. The shadows of my past will always follow me, no matter where I go. The darkness has consumed me, and there's no escape. I am lost, adrift in a sea of despair. The weight of my actions presses down on me, suffocating me. I am a ghost, a shadow of the person I once was. The light has gone out of my life, and I am left with nothing but darkness. There's no redemption, no salvation, only the endless night. As I sit here reflecting on the choices that led me to this point, I realize that there is no escape from the darkness that has consumed my life. The memories of that night on the battlefield haunt me, a constant reminder of the nightmare I can never wake up from. The faces of the hooded figures, the chants, the blood, they are all etched into my mind, a permanent scar that will never heal. I look at old photos of happier times, trying to remember what it felt like to be free, to be happy. But those memories are fading, replaced by the overwhelming darkness that now defines my existence. The person I once was is gone, replaced by a hollow shell, a puppet controlled by fear and regret. I am lost, with no hope of redemption. The weight of my actions presses down on me, suffocating me. I am a ghost, a shadow of the person I once was. The light has gone out of my life, and I am left with nothing but darkness. There is no redemption, no salvation, only the endless night.